All right. Little yellow box is on. Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. We're going to talk some All In. Going to talk about a little bit of everything. Earlier today, if you missed it, I put out my day in the life video. And I tried to edit it down to a half an hour, which I pretty much successfully did. I had a ton more footage. And if you watched it, there's only so much of it you want to see from my point of view. So I tried to keep it minimal as to highlights and some of the cool entrances. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead. There's also some other neat little tidbits that I experienced. And I'll talk about that real quick, and then I'll talk about the event and the day itself. I got to finally meet up with the guys from Rant With Ant, who I've been podcasting with on and off for the last 3 years. Recently joined rantwithant.com again, putting my Impact Wrestling content on there, So want to give them a plug too, as far as go check them out. See, my experience was way different than theirs. They actually were part of StarCast. The thing is, they told me, and this is not crapping on the whole event, I'm just comparing experiences. They were supposed to have interviews given to them. They didn't. They went out, they did the footwork, and they got all their own interviews. The only one I watched so far was the one with Phil interviewing Santana Garrett. It's up on YouTube. I don't think they're up on the website, but go to Rant With Ant on Twitter, and you should be able to find the links to everything. So go check that out. I got to meet them, G-Rod, Ant, and Phil. And there was a whole slew of guys hanging out with them. So that was really cool to meet everyone. And what's crazy is by the time I met them, from the drive and the heat and everything, I was exhausted. So I wanted to talk more to them, but it was also getting close to showtime. So just want to say, guys, it was an absolute blast running into you. And unfortunately, we didn't get to talk that long, but for what it was worth, it was awesome. It was, been wanting to meet them for a long time. I got to meet some other cool people. Rob, he's at the Book of Rob. That's also a pic that's on there. He was so full of emotion and so happy to be there and just excited to talk to me. And I was like, wow, that's, I never had that experience at a wrestling show before. By the best experience I ever had up until this point, like I said in past videos. Oh, excuse me. Probably should not be drinking this. Was the Global Force Wrestling show from 4 years ago at the stadium. That was a blast. The meet and greet, the matches were fun, But this was hands down. How do I say this? I just watched an interview with Cody Rhodes that Busted Open did they put it on YouTube. It's from right before All In. Cody Rhodes talks about a conversation he had with Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff said, make it a buffet for the fans. And honestly, off the top of my head, that's the best description that I can give this entire event. It is truly a buffet for the fans. You get a little bit of everything. You got a battle royal. You got some great tag team work. You got some lucha libre. You got some strong style. You got a street fight. You got an incredible women's match, and you got some really off the wall comedic comedy, mixed in with, Joey Ryan. That's all I gotta say is Joey Ryan. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it was just I've never been to a wrestling thing before where you could just see the look on people's faces. We're so excited to be there. I've never seen that. Not crapping on WWE, and I've been excited to be at WWE events, but I've never seen that before at a WWE event where people are just, there's just I want to say like a glow on people's faces going into this. It was amazing. Just checking the phone real quick. Sorry. So yeah, top to bottom, before I go into individual stuff, I had so much fun with my son. This was, and I brought this up a couple times at the event, this was my son's first wrestling event ever. And I thought, and this is, I hope this doesn't make this, it's going to make this sound like I'm a bad parent, and that's not my intention here. When I had planned this a long time ago, I originally thought it was falling on a weekend when I didn't have my kids. So I was like, okay, I don't have to reschedule anything or, anything like that. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks away, and Tracy's like, it's 2 weeks from now, and you've got Eric. My daughter Morgan is moving into college this weekend, so she wasn't really going to be part of my usual weekend with the kids. And I was like, oh man. And secretly, my wife has been trying to get out of this for like a long time, I guess, but not in a mean way. She doesn't know a lot of the storylines, the guys in the show, which is fine, but I still wanted to go with her. She was like, why don't you just take Eric? And I was like, oh, duh. So I took my son, and I knew I was going to enjoy it, and I was really hoping that he was going to. And being this is going to sound weird, my physical limitations, like with my back and my COPD and how humid it was in there, and it got really, difficult to, just be there after about half the show. It got really stuffy and just uncomfortable. And those seats are not that great either for someone like me. For your average Joe, it's not a big deal. But for me, it's like, it's just not good for someone with a fused back. So after a while, I was still enjoying the matches and stuff, but after a while, everything's wearing on you. You're not excited. You've got a lot of energy taken out of you. And my son is sitting next to me, and he's chanting and he's yelling, and he probably doesn't even know what he's yelling, but he was so into it, and he had so much fun. And that was just, and I got a little bit of that on the video from the day in the life as well. And he's such a chip off the old block. He's such a little goof. And you'll see that in the video too if you go check out that video. But everyone I told that this was his first wrestling event, they were like, "Oh God, you'll never top it again," And that was before and after people were telling me that. Obviously, people left happy. At least I'm assuming 99.999% of the people left happy. Where do I start with this? I did kind of just a general overview there. We could talk about the obvious. Let's talk about the obvious at first. And this may upset some people, but I just want to put it out there, get it out of the way. But before I get into it, I want to remind you people, if you are new to the channel, There's plenty more of this where it came from. If you dig the content, go check it out. Smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. All right, let's dive into this. Geez, where do I start? Okay, we'll talk about some of the outside topics real quick. There was, as far as surprises, you know, I went into this with a real dry, looking at the stuff on paper, not overbooking it. I picked winners and I picked losers, and that was it, you know. And there were a couple things that were standing out there for fans. Like, hey, I looked at it like, if this happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna enjoy it for what it is. And I realized that that was the best way to do it, because, you know, one of the last things that people were, I think, expecting maybe was Neville, and there was no mention of Neville. There was no mention. There was no Neville wasn't there. He did not show up. He was not a part of the show. So that just, you know, adds to the question of, okay, he's a free person. When and where is he going to show up? You know. And that's a whole different discussion for another time. So I really don't want to get into that. But let's talk about some of the other stuff. You know, CM Punk had an incredible signing the day before. The line, I heard a couple different stories. One was a half a mile. Another one was the line was actually ended up being a mile long. That's crazy. And that right there made me think, okay, it sounds like he had a really good day. That sounds like it's a sure thing. No CM Punk. So the reports that they did ask him and he turned it down were legit. You know, is more stuff going to come out about this after the fact? Maybe. You know, I don't think there's much that has to be said. I feel, in everyone has their own opinion, you know, and this is not meant to upset anyone, but all I'm saying is I feel if he was going to come back, this was the opportune time. If he's not coming back anytime soon, then, you know, I think he's losing his window of opportunity, is, you know, with the fans. Fans are gonna hang out forever. They'll love him and they'll appreciate him for what he's done. But as far as in the world of wrestling, that's dwindling quick, folks. So no Punk, no Neville. Trying to think of anything else as far as surprises. I don't think there was anything else that people were talking about. I know I'm missing something. Oh, anyways, let's talk about the show. So we get there, and the line to get in, of course, is, you know, tons of people. Right off the bat, the merchandise lines, because we got there nice and early. We walked in about 3:30, expected to walk around, get a bite to eat, try to meet up with some people, you know, say hi, and then do the show. Well, walking from one end down one side of the arena and then over to the other side of the arena, the merch lines were just ridiculous. And I wasn't so worried about for myself. Hey, Pierre's in the chat. Happy Labor Day. Sorry. Yeah. Happy Labor Day. To me, it was just, whatever. It's another day. I wasn't really celebrating anything, but happy Labor Day. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you. And thank you for joining. So yeah, so then we were getting, we decided to get some snacks, and unfortunately my son has a huge peanut allergy, so there was really a limitation as far as to what I could actually buy him at the show. He had nachos and a couple sodas. That's it. So we got some snacks at a nearby gas station on the way home. And that's it. Good night. No, I'm kidding. As far as before the event, oh, this is interesting. I learned later, after I got home, I'm looking at social media, and social media is just completely lit up with reactions to the show, experiences, everything. One of the things I saw posted was from Brandy Rhodes. She had a picture taken of herself and John Mayer. John Mayer was ringside front row. The only reason I know this is because I watched the pay-per-view the next day. Now, the funny part of this, where's he going with this? When I was getting snacks with my son, okay, we're walking, and we were walking from the one side towards the entrance around to the other side. So we were right around the middle, right around where everyone was coming in the front door. I'm walking, and all of a sudden, like within an arm's length of me, is two guys on either side of a gentleman who looks, I'm like, wow, that looks just like John Mayer. And I said this out loud, and no one like flinched, turned around, nothing. There was no, yeah, it's me. Just kept walking, and I'm looking, and I'm like, huh. So yeah, he walked right past me, and I didn't even, I knew it, but I was like, no, that's not it. What is John Mayer doing? It, no clue that he's a wrestling fan. So that was funny as far as like celebrities of people running into. I got a couple other, well, not celebrities, but I got a couple others, but let me continue. Brandy is quite hot. Oh, she had some outfits on. Yeah. She really did. Yes, very easy on the eyes. So the start of the show was the tag match, SCU, crowds pumped. And that was just a great tag match in a great way. There were a lot of different storylines that went along with these matches. Some didn't have any. Some had zero build, and it was just name on a paper. And it was just, that's all you needed. Like Pentagon and Kenny Omega had zero build. Zero. The announce of the match, nothing from Penta, nothing from Kenny. And you really didn't. You really didn't need anything besides that. But the SCU tag match was really good. I think I was a little distracted as far as just still from like just sitting down and taking it all in. And just, there was, like I said, there was such a buzz in the air, a feeling of camaraderie, people talking about stuff around me. And so, yeah, I probably didn't pay as much attention as I should have, but it was still a good match. So SCU comes out with the win. That probably is going to develop further into Ring of Honor storylines as far as SCU going for Ring of Honor tag team title shot. Like, the belts weren't on the line, but they're Ring of Honor teams, so there you go. The Battle Royal was next, as part of 0 Hour. There were some nice surprises in there. Some people that were announced for All In, but not announced for matches, like what's his name? Chuck? I can't think of his name. PWG Ring of Honor guy. Along with Trent, they're a tag team. They were part of the Battle Royal. Tommy Dreamer was there. I'm trying to think of the people that showed up that weren't announced. I know there's a few. I can't think of them off the top of my head. That's what happens when you grow old, folks. It was interesting. I was really curious to see what Marco Stunt, is that what his name? Marco Stunt was going to do. Never saw him before. There was a little buzz about him on the internet because he just did a GCW show. I think that's what it is. And so, yeah, a few people were talking about him, and it was like a last minute throw on. Billy Gunn was announced. Oh, and his son was there too. And wow, is he a chip off? Talk about a chip off the old block. Totally, just a little shorter, but still incredibly in shape version of his dad. Really great to see. And I can't think of his name either. We'll just call him Billy Gunn Jr. It was something Gunn. Anyways, so yeah, that was great to see. Those guys doing a lot of, that was, throwing a little old school DX in an indie show. That was great. El Chico, El Chico, the one who has been in all the storylines in Being the Elite. He was there, which we found out later was Flip Gordon, which was, a great storyline finish to Flip trying to get in on the show, and then ends up being the last one to win the Battle Royal, which a lot of people were predicting, but I don't think they predicted how it was going to happen. So that was cool. Jordan Grace did a phenomenal job. She didn't back down from anyone. I had a lot of favorites in here, so I really didn't know who to pick. I don't even remember who the hell I picked for this. I picked Ethan Page. So yeah, totally wrong. But anyways, that was okay. I really didn't care who won this as long as it was fun. And it was, a lot of different little spots. It started weird with people going in and out of the ring. You got to get thrown over the top. The way Bully was beating up Marco Stunt was just crazy. Ethan Page had some nice spots. Brian Cage had some nice spots. Hurricane was in there. Got a couple choke slams in. That was fun because that's his thing. So yeah, there was a lot of different little, things. And that's typical for a match like that. It was just a lot of fun. And what's funny is I asked my son on the way home, I was like, did I want him to enjoy himself? Yeah. Did I expect him to completely fall in love with wrestling and just like, oh yeah, I want to watch this now. I want to watch this now. No, I didn't get that from him. But I asked him, I'm like, if this doesn't make you fall in love with wrestling, which is fine, as long as he had fun, that's all I cared about. What was his favorite part of the show? And he said the Battle Royal. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, and that makes sense because you got all these little cool, funny, little exciting things going on. So yeah, he really enjoyed that. And that was, if you think about it, for a wrestling fan and someone who's never been to a show before, that was a long ass show. That really was, sitting there for 5 hours. We only got up twice. Was it twice? Once or twice. But anyways, so yeah, that was his favorite part of the show. That was cool. So that was 0 Hour. And then we had, I'm going to forget something here. Oh, geez, what was next? Oh, MJF versus Cross. And that was a pleasant surprise. That was not booked. That was a surprise that we all got. And they put on a great match. I heard from the Rant With Ant guys that they interviewed MJF and he completely shit on him the whole time. I can't wait to see that interview. Or listen to it. I don't know if it's audio and video. But they've got a few video ones up there on their YouTube channel. and the way that MJF is for all the interviews that I've ever seen him in, especially the Ambi ones. Oh my God, he's horrible. It's like I would love to interview him on here, but I'm not I don't know if I could handle him shitting on me for the entire time. That'd be a little nerve wracking. So maybe I gotta work up to it. Because I would just like to talk to him just one-on-one, but yeah, that probably wouldn't work too well. But yeah, Matt Cross being one of my favorites in Lucha Underground. He's a favorite worldwide, being booked everywhere, and it was so great to see him open a show like this. Just a fun match to open up. A great heel work from MJF, great wrestling, and Matt Cross got to show off, all his in-ring skills. And I'm sure there was a lot of people there that saw both for the first time, and made fans. So that was, 10,000 people. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of people there that really didn't know who they were, that probably only went for, because a few of the matches that were booked, but they knew the whole show was going to be special. So, and it's just another thing that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, as far as Eric Bischoff talking about a buffet. Yeah. And you got, a veteran like Matt Cross going up against an up and coming guy like MJF. That's great. That's great. And then, okay, so we had sat there for a while, and I was like, okay, we've had some of the show go on. I wanted to get my son something from the merchandise lines, but I didn't want to go the whole show and then wait till the end, because I'm like, okay, they're gonna run out because this place is nuts. So I'm like, all right, if I miss a match or two, I'll watch it on the pay-per-view. So we got up then right as Christopher Daniels and Stephen Amell were coming down to the ring. And I'm like, okay, do I want to see it? Yeah, but am I very vested in that particular match? No. So I figured that was a good time to go. So we get downstairs. The line was significantly shorter, and it was actually moving. But then all of a sudden, a gentleman who some of you may know, Joe Koff of Ring of Honor, was going through the line saying, hey, it's cash only, no credit card allowed. They're having trouble with the internet over on that machine. And apparently the ATM machine next to the merch booth is out of money. So I was like, well, okay, that shoots this line. And I said to my son, let's go try the other line on the other side of the arena. And as we got out of line, Joe Koff was still standing there. And I was like, I wanted to make sure it was him. It certainly looked like him. So I was like, hey, are you from Ring of Honor or Joe Koff? And he's like, yeah. I said, do you mind if I get a picture? And he said, no, sure, that's fine. So I got a picture with him. That's in the Day in the Life video. I walk probably 20 paces more. Here comes Scott D'Amore from Impact Wrestling, one of the executive vice presidents, behind the scenes guys. And I was like, oh my God, Scott. And he turns, he's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, what you're doing with Impact is great. Can I please get a picture with you, just a moment of your time? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then I actually got him to say, smash this podcast. So that actually came off well. Short but sweet, So I got a cheap plug from Scott D'Amore of Impact Wrestling, priceless. I walk a little further. I run into David LaGreca of Sirius XM Radio. Got a picture with him. And I had thought I got footage of him saying smash this podcast. Didn't turn out. I only got the picture because that whole day was me learning how to do video on my phone. So some of it turned out, some of it didn't. Like I thought I had the footage of Jericho showing up, and I had none of it. I had the end of the match when the lights went out, and that was it, unfortunately. So, this was a learning experience all day for me with my son's help. My son got all the footage of driving there. I just had him sitting there with the phone. I'm like, okay, record. Okay, stop. A little further. Okay, record a little more. Okay, stop. And he did great. He did great. But yeah, talking to David LaGreca for a second, I was like, hey, big fan. Can I get a picture with you? And as I'm getting my phone ready, I'm like, are you going to go off on Bully on Monday or Tuesday when you talk to him again on the show for what he did during the Battle Royal? And he must not have understood what I said because I was just trying to crack a joke. So I got the picture, and then I asked him to say, I'm like, can you say smash this podcast? He goes, what's smash this podcast? I said, that's my show. He goes, you got a show named Smash This Podcast? Oh my God. It was a funny moment. And I thought I had it all on video, and I didn't, unfortunately. But I got the picture with him nonetheless. So as far as meeting anyone important, that was my big three. I met David LaGreca, Joe Koff, and Scott D'Amore while trying to find merch. So and we get in the second line, found, got to the other line, and then asked a young lady who was coming back with a bag of stuff and a poster. I was like, are they taking credit card up there? The other line stopped. And she was like, yeah, I had no problem. I was like, okay, good. Because there was no cash machine over by the second one we went to. So I got my son a t-shirt. Was happy about that. But by the time that I got up there, all they had left was large and extra large. And well, I'm a big boy. That ain't going to work for me. So unfortunately, I couldn't get any shirts. I was like, I'll get one online some other time. So not a big deal. Got one for my son. He was happy with that. And got a drink and then got back to the seat. We missed the women's four-way. So, but that I did watch yesterday on the pay-per-view. Incredible four-way match. Oh my goodness. I watched the Christopher Daniels Stephen Amell match. I don't want to crap on it. I don't know. It just felt off to me. There were some really good spots in there. It was a lot of fun, but I don't know. There was just something about it that I don't know. It just didn't catch with me. But hey, all the credit in the world to Stephen Amell for getting back in the ring and having a match. It completed a story, and that's what's important because that they've been building this for months. So that's important. I thought it was cool that they actually brought him out in Bullet Club gear, Vigilante Club, his own little piece of that. They had joked in the Being the Elite series that Amell said that this was going to be his last match. So I was kind of in the back of my head thinking, okay, is Christopher Daniels going to retire at All In? I didn't predict that, but in the back of my head, I was thinking that he didn't. So thank God. But hey, he's no spring chicken, but he's still in incredible shape. So, but yeah, the women had an incredible match. Chelsea Green, oh my God, went all out on the whole hot mess thing, shaking her butt and the whole tossing the flowers. I wish I watched it live, but it is what it is. Yeah, that was fun watching that, at least catching up with it on pay-per-view. Tessa won. Prior to the match, she walked down with Tully, her dad, Tully Blanchard, and her stepdad, Magnum TA, was there as well. I just thought that was really cool that they were there for her on this stage, this big event. I mean, this is like her, a lot of these people's biggest match ever, or biggest event ever. A good quote is from Matt Cross. I know I'm backtracking just a hair, but just bear with me. Matt Cross said, "I've wrestled in front of 50 people in a hall. I've wrestled in front of 72,000 people in France." And he said, "Opening the All In pay-per-view is my most proud moment ever." He said something to that effect. And just this was so special for so many people for so many different reasons, All right, so we got back in our seats right as Aldis and Cody were coming down to the ring. And I was like, oh, perfect, because this is the match that I was dying to see. I was assuming for the longest time that this was going to headline the event. It didn't. It went way early, and I was shocked. And had I not known earlier from the Rant with Ant guys, were told earlier that, or I don't know how they found out. If they were told or if they found out through social media or what, that the Young Bucks were going to close with the tag match. And I was kind of scratching my head at that when they told me, but I'm like, no, that's cool, because they're going to, they're going to have a lot of spots. It'll be a lot of fun. People are here to see the Young Bucks, and especially they want to see what people are assuming is going to be Rey Mysterio's last independent show on this level before he goes back to WWE. So that being said, I was like, okay, I get it. I was thinking that or Kenny Omega, but there was a lot of matches that were considered co-headliners of this event. They were just placed throughout the show. Cody versus Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship. I was on the edge of my seat for this one. This one, out of everything, I'm going to get emotional talking about this. This had the biggest match feel for me personally, and what I felt from everyone around me of the whole evening. They came down with teams, and watching the pay-per-view the next day, watching Cody come to the ring, if you look at the look on his face before he hits the ring and he's walking down the ramp, I got goosebumps watching that. After being there and watching him walk to the ring from where I was sitting, which was way up, but still, just seeing the group with him and the group with Aldis, it just had that big feel. And the look on Cody's face, that is something fans, seeing that especially on the pay-per-view, fans will never forget the look on his face. He looked like he was so not nervous, very emotional. Like he was holding back a lot of emotion. And you could tell that when the match started, he really had to snap himself out of it and get psyched, get the crowd, he was getting the crowd pumped up, and the crowd was deafening for that match. And it is one of the best stories that I've seen told in professional wrestling, with the 10 pounds of gold on the NWA YouTube channel. and on Being the Elite. I think some of it was on there. Or on Cody's channel. Excuse me. Cody's got his own channel now. He's special. So, yeah, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and the 10 Pounds of Gold series leading up to this. And then the match. Wow, just an incredible match and an incredible end to this story. It really was. And, I mean, I'll admit, I had, as I'm filming the end of the match, standing there when Cody won, I was, I was holding back tears. I really was. I was so happy for him. And it was the perfect culmination end to this story between the NWA and everyone putting this show together. It just completed the story, I was hoping they weren't going to do something. I mean, yeah, there was some drama in the match, which was fine. They had DDP come down, check on him. Cody was busted open, which from where I was sitting was really hard to see what was going on. But then watching it back on the pay-per-view, it was how they did it was perfect. They distracted the crowd. DDP gave Daivari a cutter, and that's when he, was caught inadvertently. But yeah, great match. I keep reading that statement there. Brandy was quite hot. Yeah, her outfit to that ring. Oh my God. She had a couple of them. Very distracting. Oh my goodness. She even took an elbow for her man. My goodness. Not too many women would do that. And I was even more surprised because she just came back from surgery. I think she just got cleared to get back in the ring. I don't know how much she's been in the ring, but I think she just got cleared. So the fact that she took a big bump during this was like, the crowd just, oh man, did they tear into all this big asshole chant. So much heat on him. But yeah, Cody won the match. I was a hot mess recording it. The crowd was just electric. I've never seen a crowd on fire like this before. I mean, the place was just about shaking, with applause and people excited for this. So yeah, Cody won. Tremendous win. What the hell was next? I can't even remember. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I was surprised they even brought the dog down to the ring. That was great. Stephen Amell. Oh, okay. Hangman Page, I think, was next. Yeah, then Marty. No, then Kenny, then Marty, then the tag. Okay. I'm looking at the card because I was trying to remember what was next. I'm sorry. That was a long day. I'm forgetting about the Jay Lethal Ring of Honor match too. I forget the order. I didn't write this down. But it was cool that Poffo joined Jay Lethal down to the ring. They continued the storyline where Lethal keeps going back and forth between himself and Savage. and then to see Flip Gordon go for the Ring of Honor Championship, and that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of, well, of course, nostalgia in there. It started. It started with nostalgia, then it switched, I think, and then and I was just laughing because I'm like, he's going to be so confused why Lenny Paffo's there. The funniest part is when he kept trying to get Elizabeth, pseudo Elizabeth, back to his corner of the ring. That was hilarious. The fact that Brandy came down with Flip, because I know they were like close into being the Elite Series. They were friends. And as she came down in the military type outfit, very cute. And then later he was out of character, confused why Pafo was there, and then Pafo got him again, snapped him back into macho mode, and then they had a little Hogan macho moment where Flip turned into Hogan, and hulked out and said, "You did that whole thing." That was funny. Flip not winning, but that's okay. He'll have his moment. And he just signed with Ring of Honor for another 2 years, an exclusive deal. So he's got plenty of time to build his worth in the company. But he's had a great start so far. I mean, being the Elite Series has certainly helped him. He's latched onto that ship, and I don't think he's going to let go anytime soon. What's going to be very interesting is to see what happens to all this after the effect now. Obviously, being the Elite is going to be late because of, the huge event, but I can't wait to see what they put together for that as far as behind the scenes things, story, between kayfabe and non-kayfabe stuff, I can't wait to see that. So yeah, Flip just goes back to being regular old Flip. It'll be interesting to see what Jay Lethal does, if he's going to continue his Macho Man. What's funny is I saw someone retweet someone online. Someone was complaining about they didn't understand why Jay Lethal did an old TNA storyline for a Ring of Honor championship. And I think, I understand the question, but I think that's kind of overthinking things. There was a lot of serious matches in this event, and there was also a lot of, hey, let's just have fun with this and do some crazy stuff. This was an event that you should not just take it for what it's worth on paper, and then hopefully in the end, in watching all this, you enjoyed it. You enjoyed the payoff for whatever match, whatever storyline. And there were so many different things, This was one of them. Jay Lethal going back and forth between his character and an old character that we've never seen before in Ring of Honor, and it came out on a YouTube series. Okay? So is he going to do this in Ring of Honor again? No, probably not. If he does, whatever, this is not stuff we should overthink, folks. Just enjoy it for what it's worth. Yes, it's an old storyline from TNA, but TNA is not going to come after Jay Lethal. TNA is not going to come after Ring of Honor. They're probably going to have a good laugh at it, be like, oh my God, he's pulling this off again. It's great. Because not too many people could do that. To be honest, and do it that well. Jay Lethal's one of a kind. He's one of the best out there, and especially him being champ is unique. Um, what's also going to be interesting, and then I'll jump to the next thing, is to see who, because they had so many different names in here. Don't tell me that some of these guys from companies that were walking around that I met, don't tell me they weren't scouting in a good way. Brian Cage. Brian Cage is all over the place. He just wrestled in Chicago for All In. He wrestled at some other place last night, became their champion. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name. Warrior something. Based out of Chi-Town. They had a huge show. Stacked card. They had like 10 people going for the championship. Big names. Even Rey Mysterio was on that card, I think. Gosh, what's next? I can't think. Hangman Page. I don't want it to string out too long. Hangman Page and Joey Janela. Wow, what happened to that woman who accused Jay? I heard that the company was looking into it. That's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything further. After the allegations came out, I haven't heard it. After that came out in the news, there was a statement from Ring of Honor saying, we're looking into it. And I haven't heard anything since. So, stuff like that I try not to think too much about unless there's actually police being brought into the case, an actual report being filed. This isn't like this wasn't like the Enzo case. This is different. So I don't know. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to give her any more attention than she deserves from that. And that's not meant to sound chauvinistic. It's just for what it's worth. It was brought up in social media, and that's all there is for now. So, but yeah, the street fight that turned into Joey Ryan's return. That was such a fun part of the show. And that goes back to that whole buffet. We got a Chicago street fight. That's classic. Use ladders, tables. They jokingly used the Cracker Barrel. They got a crowd to chant Donkey Kong during it. That's one I did. I didn't watch the whole thing back on pay-per-view. I only watched about half of the matches. But yeah, I got to see that one. Oh, and what Penelope Ford did during that, my goodness, did she do some crazy stuff? The jumping off the top rope, the secret things in the bags. The one was the phone. The other one was... Oh, and I should have gotten this recorded because I was like, watch, it's the old pair of boots. 5 seconds later, they pulled out the pair of boots, and I was like, oh my God, okay, I never call anything in wrestling, and I actually called that. It was funny. But yeah, there was some comedy, and there was some hardcore in it. Hangman Page won with that devastating, I don't even know what you call it, from the top of the ladder down into the table, crashing down, pinned him 1, 2, 3. That it's like a modified driver. I don't know what you call it. But anyways, devastating. And then all of a sudden, this is funny. All of the blow up penis costumes come out, a la Undertaker cloaked men standing on either side lining the stage. And I'm recording this. I got this in the video. And just the different reactions from everyone around me from, this is wrestling. I'm just dying. And the whole segment, Joey comes out, and the look they showed, I saw it up on the screen. The look on Hangman's face as Joey's coming down to the ring, he's just he's just jaw dropped to the floor. Hilarious. Joey comes down, gives him 1-4, you know, and the crowd celebrates with him. The penises carry to, like, you know, to say this. The penis is carried away, Hangman. Oh, just, it was ridiculous. And then the crowd starts chanting, "Rest in penis." And I know they announced the t-shirt after All In, so I don't know if the crowd knew about the t-shirt beforehand or what, but they chanted "Rest in penis." And I'm filming this. Oh my God, I'm going to cry from laughing. I'm filming this, and there's my 12-year-old son. I pan next to me, and my son is chanting "Rest in penis" and clapping along. And I'm just like, oh my God. Oh, that is one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And I'm glad, you know, I couldn't even be mad, you know. I was like, he was having fun. He was chanting along. He was chanting along for so much of the stuff that was going on. Clapping, screaming. Like I said, he did. And halfway through the show, when I started, you know, aching and my pains and just being uncomfortable, and I was doing less and less, and as far as I was still recording, but just, you know, trying to stay comfortable and really enjoy the show. He did so much more than I did, you know, and I was just so happy to see Eric have fun. Oh, excuse me, J-Bone Jr. So yeah, my son chanting "Rest in penis." Oh, how do we explain this to his mother? What a riot. Let's see. Try not to leave anything out. What was next? The was it the Kenny Omega match was next? God, I can't remember. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I think Kenny Omega match, and then the Okada Skrull. I love it. Racist Fan Rocks. Good evening to you. I love the Joey Janela match. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, both those guys have really shined this year. And like I said, when Hangman, I've said this before in older videos, when Hangman Page first joined the Bullet Club, I didn't think nothing of it. I thought he was just a cheap ripoff of Adam Cole. But then when Adam Cole left, and I started paying a little more attention to him, and through being the Elite series, and then I was like, wow, this guy really is an interesting character, you know, with the whole Joey Janela storyline. And I started paying more attention, and then he had a great run in Japan. I saw a few of those matches. And Hangman, and from the other guys talking about him, putting him over, complimenting him, also made me pay more attention to him. Like, they're like, hey, you know, excuse me, this guy is something special. And it's like, oh, you know, well, if he's getting put over by the whole crew, then, you know, he's not just a guy in the background. That's special. Whose fault do you think for the table spot? I mean, Joey, my storyline. I don't know. Table spot. Oh, There was, are you talking about when they threw him off the stage? Yeah, that was ugly. I actually put that in my video too. I put it on slow motion and he crashed. He didn't crash into both tables. He only crashed into one and like tipped it over. That was brutal. You know, I hope Joey's okay. I would blame that on both. I mean, that's just a really dangerous spot. You know, you can blame it on Adam for not throwing him far enough, but I mean, geez Louise, he had to throw him like 10 feet past all the stairs, and then it looked like the tables were set up like 3 or 4 feet past the stairs. I would have set him up closer. You know, that's just me. But, you know, I'm not a wrestler, so, you know, I can't really say much about it. But, yeah, I mean, if the tables were closer, it would have been easier. I don't know if Adam slipped. I'm sure we're going to hear about it through something, you know, after the fact in some video, in some interview. So keep an eye out for that. If I hear anything, I'll bring it up somewhere sometime. But, yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I hope Joey's okay. He lost the match. They both went through hell in this. It was brutal. It was a lot of fun. And then, like I said, the payoff at the end with Joey Ryan coming back. The ghost of Joey Ryan. Priceless. Some of the funniest stuff is like you knew he was going to show up. You just didn't know exactly how or when or, you know. And I feel like they did it perfectly. And even with the surprise of the I don't even know what the hell you call them. The Undertaker penises. Oh, and check out those T-shirts that he just put online. They all say "Rest in Penis" on them or whatever. Oh, I gotta wonder if he's gonna get a cease and desist from the WWE on those. Because the one looks like the Undertaker symbol, except it's 2 lines and a lollipop. Oh. I was at All In and Flip was over. Yeah, Flip was very over. Yeah, they loved him. So what's next? I think Kenny Omega was next. No. Wait. Kenny Omega. Yeah, I think Kenny Omega and Pentagon was next. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. And it was Pentagon, Omega, Skrull, Okada, and then the tag match at the end. I don't think I'm missing anything. If I'm missing something, let me know. But yeah, it was a long show. Wow. I mean, it was well done, you know, as far as the mix of matches. It was just, for me personally, how I was feeling. It was a long time to sit there. So that's my only complaint. But, I mean, the show was phenomenal. Pentagon and Omega put on a phenomenal match. I'd have to watch it back again. It told a great story. It was great to see like who was going to come out on top. I predicted Pentagon was going to win because, I mean, they're both very prominent people in the world of wrestling. So you really couldn't go wrong with this. I haven't heard anybody saying, oh, they screwed up and it should have been this guy. I haven't heard anyone say that. Did I want Pentagon to win? Yeah. But Kenny Omega, his status in the world of wrestling is a little higher. I understand why he went over. And this was kind of like also part of his show. So it's like, all right, the Bullet Club's going to go over here. I get it. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not, you know, like I said, that's another thing that if fans were questioning it, they shouldn't overthink it. Just, you know, look at the matches on paper. There's such a good variety of stuff going on. It was incredible. But yeah, that was another one that I heard it went a little long too, but you know, what are you going to do? Can't go back in time now. But it was a great match between Pentagon and Omega. Really, like I said, told a good story. And in the end, incredible finish. And then Skrull and Okada. This is one that I was not really vested in because I don't watch as much uh, New Japan stuff, but I obviously know the characters. But to hear the crowd go absolutely cuckoo for Skrull and Okada, wow, that crowd just went nuts. And there was another one that they told a good story. And Okada, as far as like building up to this, a majority of the build was from Marty Scurll being the elite videos. Okada was like in them for like a couple seconds, a couple videos ago, and he did the whole 5 or however he did it, and he did it during the match. That was funny. So yeah, Okada won, but man, those two really, like I said, it just, if you watch the series, the payoff in the match was good. It's a combination of things. It wasn't just, okay, these guys on paper in a match. No, there's other stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they treat Skrull now in New Japan. Are they going to treat him more like a heavyweight, or what are they going to do? I don't really know what he weighed in as, or how many donuts he ate to get to that point where it's, I don't know. Now I'm hungry for donuts. Wonder if we got any more upstairs. You want to check? Go give me some donuts. Finally good use for something. Thank you. Get out of here. So yeah, Okada won that one. Kenny won his, and then they really had to rush at the end. Live it came off good. I had a feeling they were going to go up to from where I was, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, obviously somewhere else, depending on who they were dealing with for a provider. Everyone had some great spots. The only part of the match that I really recorded, obviously, was the entrances, and then the Kota Ibushi face-off with Rey Mysterio. That got people hot. Oh my God, did they go nuts for that? That was... And Rey Mysterio's Wolverine costume. That was interesting. I don't think I've seen some of his matches recently. I know he's had some stuff here and there. I don't remember what he did in Japan as far as the multi-man tag match that he had somewhere recently. I forget when it was. But I don't think he's had any significant character costumes lately that I know of. One of the last big ones was, I think, Triple Mania a couple of years ago. He dressed up as a Terminator, had special mask or makeup or something. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this was really cool, seeing him come down to the ring as Wolverine. And then they finished the match. And then I got some of the footage, not all of it, because my phone was getting low on battery, so it wouldn't let me record. I was limited as to what I could record at the end. So I got some of it. If you want to go check it out, go ahead. But after the show ended, and the show ended right, like if people are looking at this from a pay-per-view point of view, and all the confetti and the smoke blowing up was the end of the show, and you saw the media thing on the screen, that was the end of the show. So you heard the smoke and the confetti for a split second, but you didn't see it. But that was the end. And then the whole place filled up with confetti. I didn't get any. Otherwise, I would have put it in a little scrapbook or something. But the whole place filled with confetti. The whole place by the stage was still filled with Omega money because the not Omega, Okada, excuse me. Wow. I had Pepsi, folks, I swear to God. Usually it's beer. But yeah, Okada money was still all over the place. Matt Jackson did a spot where he jumped off the stage onto a bunch of the guys, and he was joking in the ring afterwards how he had to be really careful running and not slipping on all the Okada money. I almost said it again. And then everybody one by one came down. Cody, Omega, family members. I think the dog even came down. Kids. And everyone took turns between the Young Bucks. Kenny talked. Cody talked. Teased all into talking about Double Down. I wanted to get that footage, but just being there listening to that just was really a moment that they could just, the show was done, they were all there and just kind of reflecting on it live. Early predictions for the War Games match at MLW. I am going to be doing, I got to catch up on MLW. I know the show just went up live on YouTube, I think today or last night. I still got to catch up on that. I don't think I'm going to do any predictions for that, but I'm going to review the latest one. I'll do that probably tomorrow. I still got to catch up on that one Twitch show from Impact Wrestling. The Bad Intentions, I think it was called. I still got to catch up on that too. But yeah, the end of the show was really emotional. And one thing that stuck out that was kind of funny was not funny, haha, but everybody hanging on everybody's words at the end. Cody saying, "We're out here talking to you, and you're all still here. Nobody left." You know, well, okay, I'm sure some people left, but the place still looked full. You know, there wasn't, oh, it's the last match. Let's beat the traffic like at a WWE big show. No, everyone stayed, you know, so that was fun. Any last thoughts? It was such a great experience. I was exhausted completely. I was in a lot of pain at the end from how I was sitting for the whole thing. But that's, you know, that's those kind of seats in an arena, you know. That's not any fault of the show itself. The show was tremendous. I'd say it was probably card-wise the best. Like I said, Eric Bischoff said, give them a buffet. And folks, I don't think you can get a better buffet. Like I said, you had tag matches, women's match. Only one there not after the show was Marty. Yeah, I don't think he was there. I don't know why. I mean, there was a few people that didn't come out. I mean, there was, you know, probably half the card that didn't come out, but it was, you know, the main core people putting on the show, behind the scenes people came out. And that's okay. That's no big deal. I didn't do a big like reflection thing like I wanted to at the end when I was leaving on the Day in the Life video. What did happen, I'll talk about just a little bit and then I'll wrap this up. I was talking to Eric and I asked him what his favorite part of the show was. He said the Battle Royal. That's when he told me. And we're walking to the car and it looked like it had just stopped raining. So it was like between storms. So that was kind of nice. My son had 2 ponchos in his pocket, wrapped up, ready to go. Just didn't want to bring umbrellas in as another thing to carry around. So it worked out perfect. Didn't have to use them. And we get to the car and how I was parked, I could back up or just pull out because we were right on the end of the first row there at the All In Arena. And there were some guys hanging out behind the car or next to the car next to me. There was a group of like 5 or 6 guys, I don't remember. And they were like, some of them were just behind my car, and they saw me walk up and they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll move." And I was like, "No, look, we're not going anywhere for a while. It's okay. You can hang out and talk. And besides, I got a way to just pull out here whenever I do feel like leaving." And then, and so in saying that, then I was like, okay, I'm going to be here for a while. I might as well chat with them. They seem like nice guys. And they were just so still on a high from the end of the show, just, being at All In. And they were too sweeting this and too sweeting that. It was really funny. They even went up to my son when I told them that this was his first wrestling show. And they were like, "Oh, you'll never top it ever again." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right?" I was like, so they all went up to him and too sweeted him. I was like, oh, he was just a little rock star. It was so funny. But these guys were genuinely great. I got a connection on social media from one of them, a new sub. Thank you. And I was talking with him through comments on the last video, the Day in the Life video. He said he came from La Crosse, which is a hell of a lot more of a distance than I traveled for this show. And he said the guys that he was with was from California. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I was thinking about the Rant with Ant guys. They flew in from Philly and Jersey, or drove, excuse me. They drove. That's nuts. And then I asked the guys to plug the show. Got it recorded. Put that in the video as well. So thank you guys. You made my night. It was the icing on the cake. It was just a funny little thing. I'm not much of a promoter, so that was my little bit of promoting at the event. I didn't even have a brand t-shirt on. I talked with the Rant with Ant guys, hit a few people up on social media. The connection there for social media was horrible as far as trying to connect with someone on your phone. Horrible. Messages wouldn't go through, tweets wouldn't go out. And I found that out from a few people after the fact that everybody was having trouble, so I wasn't the only one. But yeah, man, history was made. Cody won. That was the highlight for me. Cody winning the NWA championship. Such good storytelling, and it was something just lacking so much from wrestling, and this show had a little bit of everything. So just, bravo, guys. Seriously. Am I going to be lucky enough to go into All In 2? Probably not. Probably because it's going to be on other side of the country somewhere. I was lucky enough to get a nosebleed seat and drive 2 hours to this. So I don't take that lightly. I feel like I'm very lucky, and that's not bragging. That's not bragging. Trust me. That's just, I'm glad that I could take my son in the end. I'm glad I can share this experience with people watching me, as in, hey, this, if you didn't watch it and you're just watching me for shits and giggles, you gotta watch it. It was so good. I ordered the pay-per-view and I was there because I wanted to see both experiences from, ringside and from where I was sitting. It was just great. I can't say much more than that. It was a very complete show. And I want to hear your thoughts about it too. If you're watching this after the fact, what if you were there? Tell me your experience. If you watched the pay-per-view, tell me your experience. Did you dig it? What was your favorite spot? Hit me up in the comments. So But yeah, that's it for this. I went a little longer than I wanted to, but I couldn't wait to get on here once I got my voice back. It took about a day. And then putting the other video together took between yesterday and today, and got that out this afternoon. So by all means, go check that out as well. The Day in the Life, and all in just a little bit of me showing the highlights from my point of view at the show, along with my son. So thanks for watching. It was it really was an emotional experience. I'm an older wrestling fan, and I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've never been vested like this in a show before. And I've never been to a WrestleMania. So for me, this was my WrestleMania. And that's the best way I can put it. You know, it felt that big. It was that special. So, but then thanks for everyone tuning into this. If you're new to the product, I'll say it again. By all means, you know, check out more of the content. If you dig what I'm talking about, if you dig the content, smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. Good night, folks. Coming up will be the MLW review from, when do they put that out? Friday, Saturday. I got that to catch up on, along with the Impact Twitch show. So I'm going to try to catch up with that within the next couple of days before my usual Lucha Underground and regular Impact stuff. So see you down the road, folks. Have a good one.